I want to share with you my favorite things that you can automate with your money. And yes, I did just write this in highlighter, so I really hope that you can read it. Okay, number one, this is one of my favorite things in the entire world, is setting your bills on auto pay. What you can do is set your bills straight from your bank account. If you do not have a good online bank account, by the way, this is the wake-up call to go and get one. Ally is a really good option. I personally use USAA. It's a little bit difficult for everybody to get into USAA, but I do think that if you can get into USAA, do it. I love USAA. But if you can't, there's nothing wrong with it. Ally is a really great online option. There's tons of different ones. I do not recommend going to a local branch just because they don't usually have nearly as good online support, online options, kind of things like that. I really you need to find a bank that has a really, really good online mobile friendly option, because otherwise all of this stuff is going to be a hassle to set up. So bear with me. Let's assume that you have an awesome online bank, which you should, and you shouldn't be paying any fees for it either. Okay, so that was me. You need to set up your bills to go on auto pay. What I mean by this is this can be anything like you have your bills set up to be paid online, or you have it set up straight from your account. So you know that on the 15th of every month is the day that your rent is due. Your bank online will send out a check to your, ABC leasing agency for you on your behalf. That is a huge one, so that you do not have to remember, oh crap, it's the 15th. Did I send the rent check? Now you know that it's already going to be done and going to be taken care of. You can rest easy. Number two thing that you can do on your list of ways to automate your money saving and just money in general is to split up your big bills into smaller sinking funds. What I mean by this is, let's say you have a $2,000 rent or mortgage payment, right? So that's a lot of money to just be taking out at one big chunk in a time. Okay. So instead of saying the last paycheck of the month I know is going to go to rent, and everything else during that week is going to be kind of a lean period of time because we have no more money because it all went to the rent check. So instead of doing it this way, what I recommend, and it doesn't have to be rent, it could also be something that you use for your car payments or any other kind of a big bill. And whatever you consider a big bill, like the one that you're oh, I hate writing this check, it hurts my soul. Whatever that is to you, if you can split up those big bills into weekly amounts that get taken out from your primary checking and put into a separate savings account or a sinking fund account, it makes it easier to pay that bill and to not have to have a week of complete and utter no spending, because that's where the entire paycheck went. So in the example of a $2,000 in a month rent payment, what you would do is whatever payday is, we'll call it Friday. Each Friday of the month, $500 will go from your primary checking into your sinking fund for that big bill. And so then by the end of the month, that entire bill will be able to be paid from that account. You do not need to stress out over, oh crap, I have no more money for food this week. There's no money that's going to go into savings this week, because you've been able to split it up over the month. I do this with our rent payment. I do this with our electric payment. It has been so simple. And it's the same kind of thing as saving for a sinking fund, except it's a sinking fund that you know you're going to use entirely by the end of the month. This, again, really does help when those big bills seem I don't know if that's possible for an entire week. Some people, a lot of people actually, obviously, because rent pay or mortgage housing payments are usually 30% of your overall income, but it's usually more, let's be honest. So having an entire, basically half of your month having to go to your rent payment, and then having half of the month where you can't spend anything because all the money's gone, having an ability to set aside money weekly so that those big payments don't seem as painful really does help. There we go. Number 3. this is something that I'm obviously very passionate about. You've heard me talk about it a ton, but I think it's worth repeating again, is moving your money over into a savings account automatically every payday. This was a big thing for anybody who has ever said, I can't save money. Every payday, I want you to have an automatic transfer of money from your checking to a savings account, not to the sinking fund, to a separate savings account. I want you to have that account set up, and you're going to start with moving over $20 a week. Once you don't even notice that $20 is getting moved anymore, up it to 25 or 30 or whatever you think is reasonable. And before you know it, that account is going to grow and grow and grow. It does happen, and you don't even notice it because it's happening automatically, and it's happening on payday. So what we used to do when my husband was getting direct deposit paid into our bank account, it would hit the bank account. It would technically be Thursday night when I'm asleep, and then I would wake up Friday morning and it would have hit the bank account. So every Friday, because the way that banks work is they move money out first thing in the morning, usually. That's how it works. I don't make up the rules. So what would happen was, by the time that I would wake up, the account would have gotten hit by his direct deposit. So it would now have a bunch of money in it. And then we're already automatically moving money over into savings. And we're also already automatically saving into our sinking fund for our rent payment, whatever it is. And it happens without me ever having to touch anything. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do it. I just wake up and I see that there's money in there. Does it matter to me that it seems like it's less? No, it does not, because that's all I know. So let's say that, you have a paycheck, just for the sake of nice round numbers, okay? Let's say you have $1,000 paycheck each Friday that comes in. Using this example of a $2,000 rent, we're going to say each Friday you're going to have $500 that's going to go directly to your rent payment, and 25, call it 100 if you want to, that's going to go directly into savings. Whatever number you see fit, it's going to go directly into savings. So instead of seeing like, oh, it's payday, I can do what I want with my money today, instead of feeling like that and then having 2 days later where you're like, oh crap, I have no money to actually pay the bills. Instead of doing that, you're now going to be able to have money separate. You're going to have money off to the side where it's already growing, it's already saving. And instead of being like, I don't have the money for rent's already been prioritized. Rent's already come before all of the fun stuff comes.